Hey everyone, this is Charmaine from FUNtastic Crafts, and I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. Today I'm going to be working on a technique that I learned from Scrapbooking Made Simple. I went to one of their Saturday make and takes and I did something similar, and so I really wanted to combine the techniques I learned and make a unique card with it. And I knew that I needed some congrats cards, so congratulations cards, and I didn't really have any in my stash, so I decided to just make some. So to begin, I used some black cardstock that I already had in my stash that I had tried another technique with, but you kind of don't like it. All the techniques don't always go well, so I just used that, and so you may see pattern on the back, but I cut those into 4 by 5 1/4 just to have a little matte piece. Then I have this Prima stencil. Now you can use any stencil you have, any company, it really doesn't matter, but you want a stencil. I guess you can, no, yeah, you really do want a stencil. If you have a Cricut, you could cut out a stencil too, if that's what you want to do. But I just have some stencils just for easy, and Prima ones these particular ones were pretty inexpensive as Scrapbooking Made Simple, so I just picked some up. So I first did some Versamark watermarks. So I just put that stencil down, and then I just squeeze my Versamark pad down onto it. And you need a good amount of pressure because the Versamark, the pad is a little it's more firm. It's juicy, but it's firm. So you may want to just, press a little harder, and I kind of had to do that. But I did that, and then I took just a cloth of some sort that I had laying around on my desk, because that's how I do things. And then I just rubbed it, and mostly this was to clean off the stencil. It wasn't really to do anything else, but to just clean off the stencil. And if there were any extra of anything, it just kind of went in between the stencil. So that's kind of what I did. And then I removed that, and you can see how beautifully that, it's like tone on tone kind of color. So it's very it's like a darker black and a lighter black. It's so pretty. I love it. I think it's so elegant looking. So I just went ahead with that my heat tool, and I just simply dried that, just because it is tacky when it's wet. So you do want to dry it pretty well. And in fact, I think I didn't even dry mine too well, so then there was a few pieces of fuzz on my little stencil, in between my stencil, but that's okay. It really doesn't matter, and it didn't really impact the look of the card. So I had that. Look how gorgeous that is. I love how that looks. I think I want to make like a million wedding cards with that kind of a tone on tone effect, so I'm very excited about that. So I just took a baby wipe and just cleaned the stencil off and my desk, and sorry about the camera moving. Apparently, my desk is just very wobbly. So so I did that. And then the reason why I wanted to clean this stencil is because I'm going to be doing the part 2 of this card, which is pretty much the same thing. I took that so with that full 8.5 by 11 sheet, I had 4 panels. So that one was dry. That one was the Versamark one, and so I needed to take another one. And what I was going to do with that one is on my right, you will see that I have some pearlescent watercolors, and this was an inexpensive one that I am sure you can pick up from Scrapbooking Made Simple, from any really craft store. And it's fairly inexpensive. It's not as expensive as some watercolor paint that, us watercolor people like to use, which I like to use, like Daniel Tiger. Not Daniel Tiger. Oh my God, guys, I must be a kid or something. Well, I must have kids, because Daniel Tiger is a kid show. Anyway, so Daniel Smith. That's what it is. Daniel Smith watercolor is that more expensive color, but you don't want an expensive watercolor for this technique, or expensive shimmer water paint. So you want an inexpensive one. And I just took my blending brushes, and I just took a few colors that I thought would kind of blend together, and I just went around the stencil. Once I did that, you will see that it gets this really nice pattern of a shimmer look. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Between these two card the Versamark and this. I just love the pattern. I think it's so elegant, so sophisticated, and just would create such gorgeous, beautiful cards. And I just showed you one way to create it. There are so many different ways you can go with this, just with this background and the stencil itself and this tone on tone or black on shimmery powdery goodie. It's awesome. I once again just kind of dried that just because it's wet paint, you know, so I wanted to dry that, make sure I don't smear anything, although I probably did smear a little bit. It's okay, it's still a gorgeous card. So the second part I did was, as before when I mentioned about cutting it, it was 4 by 5 1/4. So I took that longer side, and since it was 4, actually it was 5 1/4 the length, and the width was only 4. I could cut it in half, so at 2 inches I cut those 2 panels, and I wanted to mix those up. I thought this would give it a very nice, awesome kind of a card, because you have, when you are mixing up colors and patterns and stuff, it's nice to have one common, common thing. And common thing. I know my terms are just spot on, right? So what you want to do is have that common pattern. So I chose to have a common pattern but different color tones. Now you can do the opposite. You can have common color tones and very different patterns. So either would work. But for this particular card, I decided to go with that. And then I had this really beautiful, I love this ribbon. It's like this really nice black and white ribbon that is very high quality, and it has these white stitches around it, and I love it. I don't know where I got it from or how it came into my craft room, but I know that I love it. So I did that same exact thing for both the cards. Now if you can see, I am gluing these onto another piece of cardstock. Now that cardstock can be a scrap piece of paper, it could be anything, like anything. Mine are cards that didn't make it, those cards that just didn't work out too well. I use those to be my back of the card. All you're doing is having something to just kind of hold those two patterns together. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do it, but this is how I did it. I had some scrap. I didn't like those cards because, I don't want to throw cards away and I don't want to throw paper away, so I just did this. So I put that ribbon onto this other side as well, and you can see how gorgeous they already look. I love it. I love this card, guys. I just love it. I then wanted to put this on. I looked at like a million different card bases, and then I went with this gray because I really thought it tied into that sophisticated card look thing that I'm going for apparently. So I did put some 3D foam tape on the back of those cards and then put it right onto my A2 size card base, and then I stamped a sentiment. And guys, I looked and looked and looked and looked some more. I just couldn't, you have some of those cards where you want the perfect sentiment because you love the card so much. This was one of those cards. I loved it so much. I wanted that perfect sentiment, and of course, like I spent more time trying to find the perfect sentiment than actually creating this card. This is kind of silly, isn't it? But anyway, I went with the Stampin' Up stamp set, and I went with congrats. I would have probably liked more. I need more happy birthday cards, so next time I need to really do happy birthday cards. I should have probably done that, but it's okay. So then just to kind of go with that whole stitch mark. By the way, I did use my Lawn Fawn black licorice to do that stamping, the sentiment stamping, and then I went with a black Uniball gel pen and just put stitch marks, and that completes the card. I love this card, guys. I mean, I get the camera never picks up on these gorgeous cards. It's a shame, but I literally love this card. This is probably one of my favorite cards, and maybe I say that on all the videos, but this really is. So, and I have some pictures of the cards. Hey, if you guys like this video, make sure you thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can see more of these kind of fun videos. I love creating tutorials and videos for you guys, and love talking to you guys and being a part of your life. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Until next time, everybody, have a great day. Bye.